Hello, listeners. It's your boy Notorious SA, aka Steve Anderson, aka Democracy Ride or Die. So, this is my third attempt at this because I realized the first two times I tried, I didn't actually record anything and I just went on a very long rant that no one will ever hear, so whatever. But welcome back. It's been a while. I'm currently using Riverside to record this on a video, but I believe there will be an audio version of it as well. And, it's interesting. I moved over from Anchor to Spotify for podcasters, and I haven't been logged in since 2023. So it's been a minute, but for any of the fans that are here, wherever you are, whoever you are, great to have you along for the ride. Now, full warning, I'm going to snap off and I'm going to use a lot of vulgar language. So if that's really not something you want to hear, then you can feel free to skip this one. I encourage you not to. This is a lot of straight talk coming from somebody who loves this country and wants to succeed and has a lot of opinions about the reaction to the debate last night. So if that's not your jam, by all means, go ahead. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to do a real quick recap of everything that's happened as much as I need to since I stopped recording back in 2023 and took a little bit of a hiatus, and now I'm back here. So when I last left you, Donald Trump had been removed from the Colorado Supreme Court because of the insurrection that he participated in on January 6th. Fomented, I should say. And since then, the Supreme Court has ruled that in Trump v. Anderson that Congress is the one that should be the one to force him off the ballot and not the states. So, whatever. On a personal note, in the state of Illinois, he was also kicked off the ballot by a judge who realized that, yes, he was an insurrectionist. And your boy, this Steve Anderson, is that Anderson. I'm not the Anderson in Trump versus Anderson. I'm the Anderson in Anderson et al. Versus Trump in Illinois. That's me. Your boy out here was part of that. And I'm proud of that. Because Donald Trump is an insurrectionist who does not deserve to return to the White House. Period. He's a criminal. He's a fraud. He's a rapist. And he's a convicted felon. And there was a debate last night between him and President Joe Biden. And I'm just going to be honest with you. It was a bad format. CNN did a terrible job. And everybody is losing their shit for the stupidest possible reason. I get that we live in a clown world a lot, and, I try to think that the people on TV know what they're talking about, but I'm truly amazed that all of these people who are paid probably ridiculous salaries to go on TV and give their opinion could be so ill-informed and fantasy-driven. It just boggles my mind. To recap, did Joe Biden have a great night with the debate? Not really. Started off bad, got a little better, mumbled some answers. And for everybody who said that this was a proof of life showing, that he had to show up and be fucking jacked up and energized in Obama 2008, he wasn't. And I'm sorry he didn't live up to your expectations, but he told the truth. Could he have done a better job of it? Sure, but it's in the past now. No sense in Monday morning quarterbacking it. But what really grinds my gears and what really makes me angry is when I watched all this recap and people discussing it and the insiders are scared. We got to change out the top of the ticket now. Like, he's got to step aside. It's the patriotic thing to do. All due respect to all of those people who are saying that, many of whom I really admire and I appreciate, and I believe have the best of intentions and don't want Donald Trump to be president again, I have a few words for you. Grow the fuck up. That's some harsh talk, but I need you to do me a favor, and I need you to grow the fuck up. Grow a spine, slap yourself in the face, get some water, go touch some grass, do a vape, smoke a joint, take an edible, take a shot. Whatever it is you need to get past this initial panic cycle that you're in right now, you need to do it. Because for some reason, and because, again, we live in this kind of crazy world where, why does anything make sense, right? Donald Trump, the former president of the United States, is a convicted felon for falsifying business records in the state of New York in furtherance of undermining campaign finance laws in the 2016 election. 34 felonies. Straight down. Guilty on all counts. Where was this push of people saying he can't be the nominee now? You know what happened? All the Republicans rallied around it. It's a miscarriage of justice. Can't believe this is what happened. It's all bullshit. We're going to have to get rid of the Supreme Court to get this taken care of. We're going to have to just, the jury system's broken. There's no justice in America anymore. We live in a banana republic. And no, that's all just taken as, they're allowed to say that. They're allowed to just spew nonsense. But, Joe Biden has a bad night at a debate, and all of a sudden he's got to be replaced at the top of the ticket. He's got to change out. We've got to do this West Wing fantasy bullshit that's coming up here. Like, part of my problem with TV punditry and commentary is that everybody up there is just kind of in a little funk and vibe. And if the vibe is he did bad, everyone's got to panic. Everyone's got to freak the fuck out. Like, how could this happen? How could this happen? And for many of these same conservative Trump supporters who are like, I told you, we all said he was bad and we all said he's terrible. First of all, Donald Trump is a felon and a rapist and insurrectionist. There is no valid reason to vote for him other than you being selfish and un-American. And you know what? I stand by that statement. He was a valid option in 2016. He was a valid option in 2020. But nuh-uh. 3 strikes and you're out, my friend. There is no valid reason to vote for Donald Trump at all. Period. He's a bad president. He's bad for the party. He's bad for America. There is no valid reason to vote for Donald Trump. Period. Which means that unless you want to vote for RFK or Jill Stein or some other bullshit, the pro-democracy, pro-American candidate on the ballot is Joe Biden. He's not going to leave. They're not going to be some crazy convention thing where he switches it up and Gavin Newsom's the nominee now. Like, all due respect to all these people that I respect who are saying that the patriotic thing for him to do would be to step aside, I need you to sit the fuck down and take several steps back. In fact, take several seats and stop talking. And listen to me for a second. If you're panicking because of this debate, like, you are too online, you are too caught up in this, and I need you to fucking relax. Do you know why you should relax? Aside from the fact that debates have never changed anything in the history of time, and the idea that, Joe Biden was so piss poor that all of a sudden, the 25th Amendment's being invoked? Like, no. He went out today there at a rally. He was great. It'll be in the show notes. I'll also put Donald Trump's other rally in the show notes, too. If you want to compare and contrast which one of these two people seems to be cognitively together. And also, just a quick aside, Donald Trump attempted a coup against the U.S. government. And fun fact about that coup is that the criminal trial that he's facing, the immunity claim the Supreme Court is taking its sweet-ass time on, will hopefully be issued by next week. And, if they do the right thing and just agree with all of the other legal precedent that's there, they're going to say Donald Trump is not immune from criminal prosecution, particularly because these weren't official acts. These were personal acts taken by his campaign to undermine the government, despite the fact that he also used the levers of government to try to do it too. But again, that policy isn't protected. But should they rule that he's not immune like they should, and Jack Smith basically, rearranges the charges and does whatever he has to do and say, we're ready to go, let's fucking do this. Come September, October, he could be on trial for these crimes. And I don't care how close it is the election. He needs to deal with this. And the idea of pushing it off past the election, that maybe he can get elected and maybe he can just push it off and make it go away forever. No, not happening. You know what? You lose the election, face your criminal charge, you get acquitted, whatever. Jury system does what it does. But until then, no, you have to face accountability. Donald Trump has to face accountability for the insurrection. I am a single issue voter, and that is the issue of January 6th and using violence and illegal means to undermine the election and try to take power illegally. Immigration, inflation, the economy, abortion, these are all super important issues. And for many people, that is their deciding factor. For me, for this American who says pledge allegiance to that flag and fucking means it, to the guy who took an oath to the Constitution when he became a federal employee and fucking meant it, to the person who realizes this is the greatest country in the history of the world, in the history of time, and the reason that humanity is at its peak is because of the United States of America. The idea that I have to make Donald Trump president again because Joe Biden had a bad debate is fucking insanity. And the idea that he has to step aside because of this one particular night when the other person is so clearly unfit, and the idea that, by the way, what do you think is going to happen if he leaves? If the Democrats are like, well, this is it now. We're going to rebuild an entire coalition and change up the strategy with 130 days to go because, you know, if it wasn't Joe Biden, somebody else could beat him. Well, too fucking bad. We're not in that place. People could have primaried him, and they didn't. Not real primaries anyway. And he's the nominee now. So fucking deal with it. This is like when I go to a restaurant and when they ask me for a drink and I say, I'll have a Coke, and they say, I don't have Coke. Is Pepsi okay? Do I start losing my shit and saying this country is over? No. I take the Pepsi. Is Pepsi my preferred soda of choice? No. But if I'm in the restaurant, I want a soda, I'll take the Pepsi. Do I say, why can't you go get Coke? You know what? What if you just changed your whole restaurant operation just so I could have Coca-Cola? You know how much of an asshole I would sound like? And that's happened. Jimmy John's, but it wasn't Coke, it was Pepsi products, but different story, right? If the options they give you are, here is a Pepsi, and here is bleach, pick one. If your response is, I want Coke, and they say, we don't have Coke, we have Pepsi or bleach, and you think, well, they're both bad for you in the long run, they're both acidic, I guess, then you've got a problem. Because one of these things is literally unsafe to drink. And Donald Trump told you to drink it in 2020, which is part of the reason he's not president anymore. You're telling me if the choice was between Pepsi and bleach, you're going to sit there and think about it? You have to really weigh your conscience as to drink Pepsi or bleach? You're going to give me some bullshit answer about how they're both really dangerous and you shouldn't drink either of them? And maybe we should just have water be the candidate, or the preferred drink is water. The choice is Pepsi or bleach. And there are people actively saying, drink the bleach. It'll be funny. Drink the bleach. It's actually good for you. Drink the bleach because the Pepsi is a pedophile. Like, just all sorts of crazy shit that you know doesn't make sense. But you're still out here saying maybe we should do something about it. Maybe we should just change the entire restaurant structure. Here's the thing. Shut the fuck up and drink the Pepsi. Then go to a different restaurant later and see if they have Coke, or get Coke for yourself. You know what? Biden wins again. He's not going to run again. Then you can do all you want about your fantasy Democratic candidate to replace somebody else who, at that point, hopefully if Donald Trump is incarcerated and no longer on the political map and the defining feature of our life, we can sort of move on to an era of normalcy. But, you know, that's probably not going to happen for the foreseeable future. So for right now, Joe Biden is your guy. Joe Biden is the president, and he's been a great president. It's amazing everyone says, yeah, he's a great president. I love the guy. He's great, but he's just too old now. He's just too old. It's just not the same. It's just old. It's just old. Donald Trump's not too old. Donald Trump's almost the same age as him, but he just acts differently. Yeah, like a sociopathic liar narcissist, con man who is trying to get out of prison and will lie to your face with all the confidence in the world, hoping that you buy it. And clearly, there's a lot of 2016 PTSD out there as well. This is also something that makes me angry, is every election 2016? Do we just live in 2016 forever? Is Donald Trump just some hypothetical president now, facing one of the most unpopular nominees in the history of time? No, it's not 2016. It's 2024. We've lived through the Trump administration and the Biden administration. Remember how the Trump administration ended? Lockdowns, violence, death, despair, economic collapse, and then when he lost the election, he attempted a coup. 2020 America is objectively worse in every single way than 2024 America. There is a reason when people say, were you better off now than you were 4 years ago? When they say 4 years ago, they mean 2017 and 2019. They can't say that because the expression is, were you better off 4 years ago? But what they're actually trying to say is, take out COVID and everything was great, which it wasn't. And it doesn't matter. You can't take out COVID. That's like saying, oh, if you just took out the world wars, the presidential administration would have been different. You can't fucking take it out. The response to that is part of it. The response to that is part of what happened. And it's wrong. And it's wrong for people to just say a bunch of bullshit and just be like, well, he's old and I didn't like how he did, so let's just do this logistically impossible thing. It's just sad. It's just sad. And personally, I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of people who make more money than me on TV, these supposed experts and people who know what they're talking about, just losing their collective shit because Joe Biden didn't do well on a debate stage. And every time you point out the debate doesn't matter, like, it's different this time. It's different this time. The stakes are higher. Okay, well, either debates never really mattered or the stakes are higher. By the way, are both things true at the same time? Yes. The stakes have never been higher and the debate doesn't matter. Fun fact about the voting universe, there's going to be a link in the show notes for this for my LinkedIn page for an article I just wrote about hype versus reality and how it's affecting our election. And Donald Trump is winning in polls within the margin of error for most of them, and it's essentially a 50-50 election at this point. It shouldn't be, but we'll just say it is. It's a toss-up, which you have other people saying it's not and Trump's going to win, but that's all, again, hype and pandering and bullshit. But if you look at the voter universe of who is supporting which candidate, Joe Biden voters have voted in at least 2 or 3 elections. The people who used to be regular Republicans, the people who vote in special elections and all the other elections and, actually take an interest, people who read newspapers, people who are generally well informed of what's happening in this country, they are for Biden. And if you look at people who have voted maybe once, twice if they're lucky, but especially among people who haven't voted in the last, 4 elections, Donald Trump's killing among those people. Those people get their info from social media. That's the whatever, it's all bullshit anyway crowd. So, of course, that crowd, which doesn't care about anything and has no attachments or no real commitments, of course they support Donald Trump, because why the fuck do they care? It's all a game. It's all a joke. It's all hilarious. And if it's not that, it's I hate certain people and I want Trump in charge of the government and I want him to use that government to attack the people I hate. I'm sorry, but there's no valid reason to vote for Donald Trump. There's no valid reason. Inbox me, at me, whatever. So tell me why. Give me real reasons, and I'll go ahead and tell you the truth. Economy was better under Trump. It wasn't. We were safer under Trump. We weren't. Joe Biden's old. He is, but so is Trump. None of that answers my primary issue, which is that Donald Trump attempted a coup against the U.S. government and is currently facing criminal charges for it. And we're just going to act like it's not a thing. Do you think this debate will matter in a few weeks? It won't. It won't at all. And all these people who are out here crying and complaining and saying, my phone's blowing up from anonymous Democrats who are saying, we've got to do something about it. They're all just going to piss off to the wayside. And they're going to be like, I never said that or whatever. Because Joe Biden's going to be the nominee. And Donald Trump is going to face a prison sentence. And you know what? It seems a large part of this country just, I guess, doesn't care and will just vote for that anyway because they think that's what they want, or because it's funny, or because they really think a felon is a better option than a decent human being who's the president. For tax cuts? For tariffs? We're pro-tariff now, apparently? It's amazing the amount of people who spent their years in the conservative Republican side preaching the values of character and personal responsibility and small government and free trade economics basically just throw all that out the window and say, no, all of that stuff that I believe that has quantifiable evidence, I guess that's all wrong. And whatever Donald Trump says is what we believe now. Or you just don't even acknowledge it and just say, well, the Democrats are worse. Well, they're not. Because they're not running a rapist, fraud, felon, insurrectionist for president. They're not worse. Objectively, quantitatively. Biden is a better person. He's a better human being. He's been a better president. And if you really think that all of the collective experience doesn't matter because this one night is where it all goes down, it wasn't the fucking Super Bowl. It wasn't the last day of the election. It's fucking June. It's still Pride Month. We have July and August and September and October. And Trump is still facing other criminal trials. Those should be the top headlines every single newscast. Every single newscast should remind people that Donald Trump is a convicted felon who is currently facing federal charges, and it should be explained day after day after day after day after day. Because that's what actually matters. Trump being a liar and a felon matters. This debate doesn't. It doesn't matter because debates never really matter, which is what everyone was saying on Wednesday, but then on Thursday, because they didn't meet their fucking expectations, they're all just fucking pissing their pants and crying. Grow the fuck up. This is America. This is the greatest country in the history of the world. And we are facing a threat unlike any other. A man who our own citizens actively want to put in power, who will destroy the things that make this country great. Because they hate immigrants, because they hate women, because they hate people of color, because they want lower taxes, because they want strong defense, because they're Republicans, and that's just what Republicans do. We just vote for the nominee. It's amazing, yeah. Donald Trump could literally give a speech from prison, and the idea that he should step aside, which never even crosses the mind of any of these CNN people. But, Donald Trump gets the better of him on Thursday night, and all of a sudden, nope, we got to change everything. It's over. This election's over. We got to do something about it now. Grow the fuck up. Go touch some grass. Take a few deep breaths, and get back to fucking work. Those of us who care about America, those of us who care about this country and know what the stakes are and understand that there are two choices for president, there are others, but realistically, one of two will be the next president of the United States. One of whom is the incumbent, who has done a great job. One of whom is the previous incumbent and is the worst president in American history and attempted a coup against the government. There is no debate. There is no both sides have an equally valid option. There's Joe Biden, or there's the end of America's values as we know it. Will America survive 4 more years of Trump? It will. But it will be incredibly painful and unnecessary and bad. And then if Donald Trump's like, you know what, I do get to run for a third term, and then, there's this whole bullshit about, he can't actually do that. Those same people will get some bullshit legal advice from America First Legal and be like, you know what, I guess the 22nd Amendment doesn't really apply because of blah, 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 blah. And they'll just keep saying whatever the audience wants to hear. They'll keep saying whatever the rabid pro-Trump audience, who, let's face it, they say they love this country, but they hate it. The reason they want to say they make America great again is because they don't think it's already great. Because maybe to them it was never great. Maybe it was great when slavery was around, or when Jim Crow was around, or when women didn't have as many rights. Maybe they feel like that's the best era that they're in. Because America doesn't get better by going backwards. It gets better by making progress. It's the greatest country in the history of the world. The most successfully, racially diverse democracy, constitutional republic in the history of time. And Donald Trump had his chance being the president, and he fucking blew it. And he lost by the largest amount ever. And then he attempted a coup to stay in power. And the idea that people in this country who just are totally fucking irresponsible and don't seem to care, believe that this is it, that, I have to vote for him because I want my dollar menu back. He doesn't bring the fucking dollar menu back. Grow the fuck up. He doesn't make gas prices $1.50 a gallon. Grow the fuck up. He doesn't make NATO stronger or make Putin or Kim Jong or Xi scared. They're just going to take advantage of him. Grow the fuck up. If more Republicans, if more adults, if enough of them got together and had just ended this earlier, we wouldn't be in this spot. But too many of them have caved too many fucking times, and now they're all just riding the wave, and they're all waiting for Trump to disappear. Just to be clear, many of those people that the base knows are actually fake supporters of Trump, but they all say the right things, they're right. They are fake supporters of Trump because they know he's bad for the party. bad for the country and bad for winning. But they have to say what they have to say because they want to keep their own position, and they know the second that they even have a hint of disagreement, they will get fucking crushed by a base of people who believes an election was stolen, that vaccines don't work, and that democracy only matters if they win. That's the crowd of people who will be in charge if Donald Trump is president again. So I'm sorry if Joe Biden's debate performance wasn't good enough for you. Grow the fuck up. Wipe your tears away and get back to fucking work. Because those of us who love this country, we're going to get back to work. And we're going to make sure that Joe Biden is reelected to the president of the United States and that Donald Trump faces the accountability that he does. Because I care about this country. Because when I say the Pledge of Allegiance to that flag, I mean it. When I see that flag, the Illinois flag, the 100-year centennial flag, I just like this flag. I think it's better than the Illinois flag. And the other poster back there, you know what it says? If you can't read it, keep calm and carry on. That's my motto, keep calm and carry on. It's a great motto. Because it's very easy to get caught up in the day-to-day craziness of the world. And in this world that we live in now, with an interconnected world where everything happens in real time and there's so much stuff happening everywhere, it feels like a lot all the time. But you have to keep calm and carry on, which is what people who support Biden and who support this country is going to do. We're going to keep calm and we're going to carry on. And we're going to make sure that Joe Biden is still the president in November. He will take over in January. He will be in his second term. What happens from there, it's a crazy world. Lots of stuff can happen. But Donald Trump does not get to go back to the White House. Period. End of story. And if the option is Biden or Trump, then you're voting for Biden. And all you people are saying, if he's the nominee, I'm going to vote for him anyway. But, they should have a discussion about it. Shut the fuck up, because he's going to be the nominee. Stop wasting time. Stop distracting everybody with your own personal bullshit. All right? Grow the fuck up, get a spine, and tell people, I don't fucking care how old he sounds. Donald Trump is a felon, rapist, insurrectionist, fraud who attempted a coup against our government, the government that I took an oath to defend, the Constitution that I took an oath to support, the Constitution that he took an oath to support and broke it on scales that are unprecedented in American history. And the idea that this celebrity Williams Jennings Bryan fuck is going to be president again would really fucking piss me off. And you know what? I don't think he's going to win. Because I think there's enough people in all the right places in the country who, when they do vote, they're going to vote for Joe Biden and it's going to put him over the finish line. But we can't act like it's over. It's not over because it's June and we have months to go. I'm riding with Biden because he's the guy who's in office. He's the guy who defeated Trump the first time. He's going to defeat him the second time. And if all of you people out there are crying and whining and saying that, oh no, Steve, it's different. He's old. It's just not the same anymore. Guess what? Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You're wrong. Do you know what Trump supporters do when you point out all this stuff about Trump? Just say, shut the fuck up, you're wrong. And they move on. You notice how Republicans just blow off everything, every accusation about Trump, and just keep going for it? And how it's proven to be electoral poison? You're right, the Democrats are having an honest conversation about Joe Biden's age. You know what? There should be criticism of every leader. He's not a perfect president. He's got problems. I wish he would do things differently in some aspects. But overall, much better than Donald Trump. And right now, in the era of one president attempted a coup and says, I'm going to return to power and free all the people who helped me with the coup. And one president says, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to vote for the guy who's not going to do that. I don't give a fuck how old he is. He could be 1,000 years old. I'm sorry, in what world does felon versus fossil mean that this is somehow an even choice? In what world does criminal versus old even, how is that even a balancing act? It's not. That's like saying, I don't know, should I help my grandpa or should I help the guy who broke into my car? That sounds fucking stupid when you say it out loud. But when you say, should I support Trump or Biden? Oh, I don't know. That's a tough one. No, it's not. It's not even fucking close. If you don't understand that, then get the fuck out of the arena. because this is for serious people who want to protect this country, who understand what the stakes are and want to make this country work. And you know what? I've got a lot more to say, but I feel like I'm getting a little repetitive, and my camera's low on battery, and I want to make sure this works. So for all you friends out there, for all the listeners, whoever you are, reach out. I'd like to hear from somebody at some point, ever. I know people listen. I see the statistics. I wish I knew who you were. I would love to talk to some of you, get your thoughts on this. But for right now, the mission is clear. Donald Trump cannot return to power. And there are too many people in my party who have just decided to go with it. And there are also too many people who agree with me about him not being there, who are currently in an unnecessary panic because they saw Joe Biden not have a great debate night. Like, you've psyched yourself up too much, and you need to calm the fuck down. You need to realize what's at stake. Slap yourself, reorient yourself, find your chi, what the fuck ever. Grow the fuck up and get back to work. Because that's what's going to save this country. Getting back to work and making sure that Donald Trump does not become president again. And right now, that means doing everything you can to, if it's not vote for Joe Biden, then convince people to not vote for Trump. Not voting for Trump is just as good. So there's a little bit of a screen error here, so I'm going to try to edit this out, but you know, whatever. It's a live stream. It happens. It's my first time doing it, so, you know, I think it's back on recording now. So if there was a pause there, I'm sorry, but it's real time. This is real talk. I'm sharing my honest opinion with you. That's all I know. I can only tell you the truth as I see it. I believe that my goal in life is to split the rocks of ignorance that obscure the light of knowledge and truth, which is actually a quote from The Simpsons from the Stonecutters episode, which is one of my favorites. Little inside joke for myself and the fans who know I like The Simpsons and the Stonecutters. But thanks, everybody. Hopefully I can do this more and maybe, I don't know, get some guests or try anything, because I kind of like, this is a nice personal creative outlet for me to talk and just sort of express my feelings and my thoughts in a way that isn't just, you know, a long written post on LinkedIn or X or whatever. So, by the way, it's not X, it's Twitter. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate you being here, and I hope that everyone has a great weekend. If I don't hear from you soon, have a great 4th of July, which is the best holiday of the year. That's a fact. And I want you to remember that we're on a mission to save this country. Because too many people have already given up and think that Donald Trump is the person for the future, and he's not. The Constitution and our loyalty to it demands us to preserve our republic. And to preserve our republic, right now, our guy is Joe Biden. I stand with the president, and I stand with everybody who is against Trump and against him returning to power. I am for the Constitution of the United States of America. I am for the United States of America. I am for the president that is for my country, which is Joe Biden. So thank you all. I appreciate your talk, and I hope you all have a fantastic time, and I hope to talk to you soon. Take care.